Okay, now we're on to replacing all the big parts. So sump protection and putting the crash bars on. I might do the sump protection first because that'll save us undoing some bolts and putting some other bolts back on to attach the crash bars. So I've printed off all the instructions for the sump protection. I think the first step is we're going to get the old sump protector off and go from there. So this is a bit of a before shot. All I've done is replaced the handguards, so there's bark busters on there now. Next shot you'll see, we'll have new sump protection and crash bars on. Okay, so we've got to take the 3 bolts off, like the stand protector on this side. Now I recommend getting like a socket Allen set, because to take some bolts off at the front, we're going to need a bit of force to get those ones off because they're red lock tied in, which is not the best. All right, getting this bottom one out, it's a little bit tricky. All right, that one's done. Next we take the actual sump off. Let's look for all the bolts on that one. One here. And there. I've just got a couple to take off this side as well. Don't forget the little nut underneath, which should be an 8mm. Yep. Okay, so we need to cut, there's 2 little cable ties on here, so we need to cut those. Be careful. And then there's 2 little screws that hold a bracket on, this one and that one. This one just keeps rotating a strip, so I'll have to try and get that one out. And I'll be back once that one's done. Okay, actually got it sorted. Had to get a screw extractor tool to take that one out. So you'll be real careful of these ones. As you can see there, it's on there pretty good. Find some other ones of those. Now that's brackets off. We can chop these 2 cable ties, just careful not to go through the cable. That bracket is free. On the right hand side of the bike now, so here's the brake lever. We have to take this bracket off. That one's nice and easy. And just sit that one to the side. And we also have to undo and remove the special screw. So what that's screwed into is a bit behind. So what do we got here? 5mm. Okay, what's going on there? Because that's actually holding the crankcase together. I have to work out what's going on with this one, but we're Doesn't say to do anything with that yet. Next step is to remove these two. And I've heard these two can be the nightmare, so haven't had much fun so far. We'll see if they're easy to take out. All right, try and crack this one. Just make sure you get these seated really well. There's not much grip in there. Oh, there we go. Well, out of all the bolts, I expected these two to be the hardest. But it was that little bracket on the other side. There's a different bracket to put here, so I think the only part we might have to take off is the little clip, retaining clip underneath. Yeah, so they use red Loctite on this. At no point for this whole install does it say to use red Loctite. It's green Loctite, medium strength, not high strength. I'll take this side out and then I'll go around the other side and take the other one off. Let's make it easier. Yeah, see, that's red Loctite. All right, hard part done. That's the part I wasn't really looking forward to. So now I've got to get a jack just to support the bottom of the engine, but before we do that, just going to get a little strap just to hold the front brake on so we don't slide anywhere, like so. All right, now we'll get some support on the bottom. Okay, so I'll just jack up the bike. I need to put a bit of tension on underneath. It shouldn't go anywhere. And now we'll take this frame bolt out. Just need to undo it from the other side. Okay, we're looking at a 15mm nut. Need something a bit more than that to hold that. All right, just going to give it a little push from this side, see if it's got any tension on it. No, super loose. As you can see, it's greased up, which we'll have to do to the new one. It's just a dome head with an Allen socket on the end. We need to replace it with a threaded end on both ends. So this is the bolt we need to replace it with. And if you have a quick look at it, the ends are actually different. One side has more of a groove than the other. And we need to put this nut on using 601, I've got 609 Loctite, and screw it down to a point that it leaves a little bit of a gap, as you see there. And then we let it sit to dry for about half an hour and put it in from the left side. Okay, so a bit of Loctite, 609 on this end. And screw it down until there's still a little bit of exhaust groove, like so. Now we wait for that to dry. Okay, so while we're waiting for the Loctite to dry, we'll get the sump guard ready. Now for this one, gonna need a couple of things. Need those for later. Alright, so first thing, put this one in the bottom. Give a little bit of a spray of some sort of lube. I'm just using a silicone lube. Just to help get it in. Alright, that one's good. Now these side ones. Got these little metal plugs as well, which we can take out now. The idea of these is once they're in there, these little metal plugs slide in from the outside and will sit in there. We'll just get them in first. That one. A little metal plug can go in. Same for the front. Now let's go back to getting ready for the bolt to go back in. So now that the Loctite is set, I'm just going to put a little bit of grease on this end. We're only Loctiting one end as well. Don't go Loctite in both. A bit of grease there and a bit of grease under the lip. And same on the other end. Like so. And we'll thread that through from the left side. Just start the thread. Now we need to tighten the right side, so where the brake pedal is, down to 50 Is 8 newtons or 50 Newton meters if you want to go that way. He didn't invent Newton meters, but he was named after him. I'm just tightening up through from the left side for the moment. Okay. Not there yet. Not there yet. Just waiting for, there we go. There's the click. Just make sure. We're good. That bolt is in. Now we can lower the jack. Get rid of that. So now we're putting support brackets on for the sump guard. Now if you're unsure which one goes where, the right hand side has a brace at the bottom. The other side's fully cut out, which we'll show in a second. There's a rubber grommet that has to go in between the two, as you can see there. Just going to lube that up and push that one in. Nice and easy. Now this is the reason why I was putting the sump guard on first. If you only buy the sump guard, you get these chrome bolts, just Allen key, like what we took out, and they'd go through and off you go. But if you're using the crash bars come with these, which as you can see have a thread on the inside to allow you to attach the crash bars. And same deal as the other ones. So these just sit here and they've got to move a little bit. We need to put a little bit of grease on this mounting surface here. Just a little bit of lube spray on that end. And we're also doing these up to 50 Newton meters. These bolt heads are a bit bigger, they're 17 mil, so I'll just get that started. And then we want 50 Newton meters again. we go. So as you can see, they wobble around, but there's mainly like a dampening force for the sump guard. Now we're going to be doing the exact same for the left side of the bike. The only difference is this cutout, because it does some tricky stuff that you need to get it underneath that one. Be careful of the wires. There we go. Just get it started with the socket. And once again, 50 Newton meters on this side. There we go. Just make sure, and we're done. The next thing on the list is to replace these brackets front and the ones with the cables. These ones are 10 Newton meters, I think, so pretty much hand tight. And now I need to replace this bracket. That's those clips on. So all these cables will be going underneath once that's screwed in. For this one, I'm just using a little bit of 243 Loctite. No need to put the red stuff on. Okay, so I'm gonna have to get one of these new bolts because these are the ones that I screwed up. Okay, so now we've got to put this little bit of tube on just to protect this cable, which I'll take that off. I'll just unplug that. I think it's just like a little heat protector. It's no big deal because going by where the cabling goes, just got to make sure it's out of the way. All I'm trying to do is keep it all protected. It says you can cut this, but what's the point? I don't see a point in cutting it. Just leave it on. Trim that one off. And then we put these two together, just doubles over. Okay, so that's all up out of the way now. Okay, so I've got a quick fit bracket to put on this side as well. I think we're ready to put the sump on. All right, so my SD card just ran out, so you missed me putting this bit on here. What I need to do is tighten up the bolts now. It's pretty easy to work out where the bolts go. There's two black ones, so one at the front and one on the other side with the bracket that you replaced. And don't forget to replace the clips because the bolts are a little bit bigger. So these go up to 10 Newton meters. Okay, so one bit I don't understand in the actual diagram, it says to remove this bolt when you remove this bracket previously that holds the old sump on, but then it also says to remove this section, and you actually need that for the actual cover. So you can put that back in. Didn't actually see a bolt to replace that, so yeah. Let's get started on mounting these crash bars. Okay, so now that the hard part's done really, it's just a matter of screwing these on. Just going to grab a little bit of grease, just put on the underside of this bolt. Nothing crazy, because these will have to come on and off to take the plastics off, so it's best just to keep them a little bit lubed up. I'll just drop that one in there, like so. I'll just let that sit loose, and I'll do exactly the same on the other side, and then we'll come back to the front. And now we just need to fit this crossbar that goes between the two. So the groove, it's got grooves in it, so there's a groove on this side and a groove on the right hand side. They come together. So once again, just loosely fit it and go to the other side. Okay, so everything is just really loosely fitted at the moment. So before we screw the cross member on, we'll do the front up. And this one, the right hand side goes over the left hand side. Now, the one thing that I found missing from the kit is I'm missing one washer. So I'll put one in for the time being, because I'll have to get another one. And these are done up with a T40 Torx. So we'll leave it all loose, we'll get this crossbar in. So the sequence to tighten them up is the rear one on the left side. .40 Newton meters using an 8mm Allen. And then the front, T40 Torx to 40 Newton meters. Yeah. And the rear one again. And then the crossbar to 40 Newton meters. And if you do the other side up first, then it will line up properly on the other side. And there we have crash bars and sump protection installed. Just got to get another washer for there. One more part left to install, which is pretty easy. It's just the water pump protector. So that's sort of what we're looking at. The only issue is the bolt that I put this bracket on before, it's stripped, so I'm going to need to get a new bolt for there. But in the meantime, I will just make do. Once again, keep everything all nice and loose. Same deal, we're doing this one up to 40 Newton meters. That's not ideal. Oh no. That's not ideal at all. Broken bit, at least it's not a broken bolt, it's only a broken bit. And with that, we're done. Not really the way I wanted to end that, but probably gonna spend the next half an hour trying to get that out. Or it might have to stay there till I really need to get it out, but it's best to get it out before you really need to get it out. Oh, fun. I suppose the good thing about this is if, when I take this off, I only need to take that bolt out and that one off, that can stay in there. So it's not the end of the world. It's not ideal, but yeah, it's not the end of the world, especially when everything's going so good. Maybe that one wasn't needed to be 40. Okay, so that's the crash protection all installed on the bike. Let's see how that goes. Hopefully it's not going to come into too much use, but better to have it than not, I think. It's good it's got some brackets to mount some auxiliary lighting on the front. We'll get to that a bit further down the track, I think. No need for that just yet. So the only thing I need to get is another washer for the front, because that wasn't in the kit. I found that the only thing that was missing. Not a big deal. And I think in the next video, I'm going to talk about some very big things. So tune in next time.